Okay, guys, so the first thing I want you to do is glue in the two notes that you have either in your folder or in front of you. The first thing you're going to glue in is this one, solving equations with properties of equality. The second thing you're going to do is glue in this one. If you do not have your notes, just hold on to them and use them as we go today. So pause the video and glue those in. Okay, next thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and fill in these notes. When you cannot guess the value of the variable that will make the equation true, right? When we cannot guess, just guess, we use the commutative, C-O-M-M-U-T-A-T-I-V-E, the commutative, distributive, D-I-S-T-R-I-B-U-T-I-V-E, associative, A-S-S-O-C-I-A-T-I-V-E, and exponent laws. Okay, so we are allowed to use all those laws when solving an equation, as well as the properties of equality. Properties of equality to find the solution. So make sure you have all of that written down. Okay, the properties of equality are tools used to isolate the variable. Isolate means get by itself. So example, we want to get 1x equals a number. Notice that 1x is by itself on one side of the equation. The properties of equality are good tools because they are preserving, P-R-E-S-E-R-V-I-N-G. Preserving the solution set. That means when we use them, they don't change the solution, they don't mess up our work. Or you can think of it as they are keeping the equation true. Okay, so the first property we often use is APOE, or the addition property of equality. That's when you add the same number to both sides, like plus 3 and plus 3. The next one is the SPO, or the subtraction property of equality. That's when you subtract the same thing from both sides. The third one is the multiplication property of equality, and it's when you multiply the same thing on both sides. And I'm going to put some parentheses because when we multiply the same number on both sides, we make sure each side is in parentheses because we have to multiply that 3 by everything on each side. The same is true for the division property of equality. You're also going to have parentheses, and you're going to divide by everything. You're going to divide everything on each side. Okay, once you're done taking those notes, I want you to put the other set of notes in front of you. Okay, these are all the steps used to solving an equation. Currently, I want you to put a check by the first step, the fourth step, the fifth step, and this side. We are focusing on just those steps. Eventually, I'm going to take you to distribution, combining like terms, and we're going to have variables on both sides. But we just draw the river, find the variable, undo addition and subtraction, and undo division and multiplication. So these are the things we are going to follow today. So you can put your classwork in front of you, and we're going to follow this flow chart. Okay. I have put a piece of the flow chart right in front of you. So the first thing we do is we draw the river. So I'm going to get a darker pen here. You're going to draw the river. Okay? Next thing we do is find the variable. Is it over here or is it over here? Well, I see the variable on the left. Okay? When we find the variable, we focus only on that side. So we're going to put a star over here. This is where we're focusing. And then it says, undo any addition and subtraction near the variable. So we're starting with addition and subtraction. We're going backwards to make a 0. So I see x, and then I see subtraction right here. I have a -7. I want to make a 0, so I know that if I add 7, the opposite, I get a 0. Okay? -7 plus 7, let's make sure I did it right. -7 plus 7 does give me 0. So these are gone, and I just have 9x equals, well, here I have -7 plus 7. I also have a 0. Okay? So I have used addition and subtraction to make a 0, and then my final goal is to use multiplication and division to make a 1. So 9 and x are being multiplied. The way I undo that, right? Undo division and multiplication with inverse operations to make 1x. Well, I know that I need to undo this with division, and I need to divide by 9 because 9 divided by 9 is 1x. I have to do it to both sides. 0 divided by 9 is 0. So the answer is 1x equals 0. So the first thing I did here was the addition property of equality, and the second thing I did was the division property of equality. All right, let's move down. Okay, first thing we're going to do, draw the river. And then we're going to find our variable. Is it on the left or the right? Well, I see it over here. So it's over here, and I'm only going to focus here. Draw your star. Okay, it says use addition and subtraction to make a 0. So don't look at the variable yet. I see this -60 over here. I need to use the opposite to make a 0. So I'm going to add 60. Let me make sure that works. Does that make a 0? -60 plus 60. Good. I have to do it to both sides. Oh, what did I do wrong? It should be adding. I have to do the same thing to both sides. So that was the addition property of equality. That makes a 0. I just have -12x equals, well, 144 plus 60 equals 204. 204. I have made my zeros, and now I need multiplication and division to make a 1. Okay, these are being multiplied. I need to do division. I'm focusing on this side. I need to know how to make a 1. So a lot of you would say divide by 12. But -12 divided by 12 gives me -1. -12 divided by -12 gives me +1. So that's what I want to do on both sides. So I get 1x equals 204 divided by -12. -17. Okay? Right here, when I divided, I used the division property of equality. Okay, right here, I took away the flow chart. First thing we do is draw the river. Next thing, we find the variable. It's over here. I'm focusing here. So I want to look. Do I see addition and subtraction? -5 and x. What's the operation happening? Guys, the only operation happening if they're smushed is multiplication. So I can skip all the way down here. I'm dealing with only multiplication. The way to undo it is division. And my goal with multiplication is to make a 1x. So -5, I'm going to try just dividing by 5. Nope, that gives me -1. But -5 divided by -5 gives me +1. That's what I want. So -5 divided by -5 gives me 1x. And then -30 divided by -5 equals 6. The answer is 1x equals 6. Okay, next one, same thing. First step, draw the river. Second step, find the variable. Oh, it's only over here. Draw a star. I'm focusing here. I deal with addition and subtraction first if it's there. Well, I have an x and I do have some subtraction. My goal is to make a 0. So -154. What if I subtract? Oh, that doesn't make a 0. So remember I have to do the opposite. So maybe if I add, negative 154 plus 154. Nice, that makes the 0. So I add 154. I want it to go away. That goes away. I have x equals 13 plus 154, 167. Am I done? Yes, I have x alone. That's the same thing as 1x. The answer is 167. Okay, flip to the back. You need to be doing the same thing. Number 5 is really similar to example 3, and number 6 is really similar to example 4. Okay? These are like examples 1 and 2, so you can go back and look at them. I need to see you checking off the river, the left and the right. I want to see your star for which side you're focusing on, and then checking off whether you're making a 0 or a 1 each time you do your work. Go ahead and get started on your own.